No problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. Voltaire. What do serial entrepreneur Elon Musk and YouTube megastar Mr. Beast have in common? They both utilized first principles thinking to reach incredible heights. In this video, I will reveal how you can guarantee massive success through using this powerful thinking framework. Part 1. Thinking from first principles. Thinking from first principles is not new. It's a method of thinking that's been utilized for over 2,000 years. First popularized by Aristotle when he defined it as the first basis from which a thing is known. It has resurfaced in popularity after Elon Musk attributed his many successes to this style of thinking.
We have some of that secret sauce. Can we put it into our education system? Can someone learn from you? It is truly amazing what you've done.
Oh, thanks. I do think there's a good framework for thinking is physics. You know, the sort of first principles reasoning. I mean, generally, I think there are. What I mean by that is boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there, as opposed to reasoning by analogy.
Throughout our lives, we are taught to reason from analogy. Our schooling system largely revolves around this concept. During school, we were rewarded for how well we could follow instructions. We were told what we should read and which exercises to do for homework. This form of education did not inspire independent and original thinking, but instead encouraged us to follow and not question that which was already established. We then live our lives thinking in this limited way. First principles thinking asks that we break down our assumptions and question them in the same way as a scientist would. Once you separate facts from assumptions, you can start to build something amazing. Most problems do not require breaking down to the most basic level. Going a few levels deeper than others is usually enough to give you the upper hand. Part 2. Mr. Beast.
At the time I'm recording this video, I have 8,000 subscribers and 1.8 million views. So whenever you see this, compare these numbers to whatever I have when you watch this.
Mr. Beast went from 8,000 subscribers to 46 million subscribers in just 5 years, making him one of the fastest growing YouTubers in the past 10 years. Let's break down his secret. If you have ever tried growing a YouTube channel, you will have noticed that there are thousands of informative videos on tips and tricks to manipulate the algorithm to get more subscribers. Mr. Beast did not need these strategies. He only needed first principles thinking to know what to focus on.
I mean, when you really boil it down to the people who are watching, just think about it. Like, what do you think YouTube wants? Like, to me, I think YouTube just wants people to click on a video and watch it, right? I mean, that's how they get their ad revenue. That's how they keep viewers happy and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure comments, like stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they want you to click, watch the video, click, watch the video, and just do that as long as possible. So to me, what's important is click-through rate, getting people to click on your video, and then average view duration, average view percentage, or just relative retention, and having them watch it.
YouTube uses a sophisticated algorithm to determine the content which should be pushed out to its users. At a fundamental level, we know that YouTube earns the majority of its money from advertisers who pay to gain access to its billions of users. The value of a channel is largely based on how much revenue it can provide for YouTube. A channel with high quality videos, which gathers lots of clicks and watch time, is a goldmine for monetization opportunities. This is why Mr. Beast's content is constantly getting promoted on the trending tab. He has strategically made his content engaging and novel enough to attract the largest number of viewers and keep them watching and watching for the longest possible time. He does this by creating videos which users on the platform are unlikely to have seen before, leveraging the viral nature of the platform. Most of the videos he uploads are random, creating the slot machine dopamine effect in the viewers' brains. Mr. Beast has figured out the formula for YouTube through mastering the first principles. Part 3. Elon Musk. Musk is perhaps one of the most prolific entrepreneurs of our generation, responsible for starting several multi-billion-dollar companies, most notably Tesla, SpaceX, and PayPal. His net worth has crossed the $100 billion mark.
Elon Musk just passed Bill Gates to become the second richest man in the world with a fortune of over $128 billion. Now, Musk has added $10 billion to his wealth just yesterday and today.
And he's widely regarded as a real-world Tony Stark. Why is it that Musk can have success in several different fields, whilst the average person can't seem to figure out one? It boils down to his ability to think from first principles. The most noteworthy example is his approach to SpaceX. In 2010, NASA officials under the Obama administration predicted that it would take 12 years and cost $26 billion to send men back into space. Recently, Elon and his team at SpaceX were able to send 2 astronauts into space for 2 months and have the rocket return to Earth for reuse. This was done in 6 years, half the time predicted by the experts, and at a cost of only $1 billion. Looking at the problem from first principles was what allowed the innovative measures to happen. When Elon started SpaceX, he noticed that the price for space travel was heavily inflated. Most of the costs were distributed between middlemen and expensive spaceship parts. When Elon broke each component into its fundamental parts, he saw that the cost of the raw materials was far from exorbitant, and by sourcing the required materials himself, he could cut the costs dramatically.
And for batteries, they would say, oh, it's going to cost $600 per kilowatt hour, and so it's not going to be much better than that in the future. So first principles would be to say, okay, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the spot market value of the material constituents? So you can say, okay, it's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, and some polymers for separation, and a steel can. So break that down on a material basis and say, okay, what if we bought that in the London Metal Exchange, what would each of those things cost? Like, oh, geez, it's like $80 per kilowatt hour.
SpaceX has been successful because it did not continue the string of thinking done by others before them. They did not reason from analogy and chose to apply more energy into uncovering the first principles of space travel. Part 4. The strategy. A good strategy for gaining clarity is called the 5 whys. You start with a statement, then ask why 5 times. Take someone who's struggling to overcome procrastinating studying. The statement would be, I struggle with procrastination. Why? I want to avoid doing work. Why? Because the work is boring to me. Why? I can't wrap my head around it. Why? I don't understand the fundamentals properly. Why? I skimmed over them because I was watching YouTube videos. Once you discover the fundamental issue, you can choose to address it or dive deeper by using your answer as the next statement for inquiry. The next mental model for inspiring first principles thinking is called via negativa. Via negativa is a Latin phrase originally used in Christian theology as a way of understanding God. The idea was that you can get closer to grasping God by explaining what you know He is not, instead of guessing what He is. As Nassim Taleb points out in his book, Anti-Fragile, knowledge grows more from subtraction than addition. It becomes more robust from the negatives than the positives. Take for instance the notion that all swans are white. You can see 1,000 white swans in a row, but it only takes seeing one black swan to completely destroy the argument. How about the space travel being incredibly expensive argument? Over 200 space missions reinforced this idea, but we needed only one Elon Musk to prove the statement erroneous. Take someone who's trying to lose weight and get healthy. Instead of buying the latest supplements and joining a new state-of-the-art gym, the person can subtract smoking. They can also subtract the junk food in their diet and the need to drive everywhere when they could just walk. The result will be someone who is much healthier and fitter. How about the person who can't get to sleep? Should they use the sleeping pills recommended by their doctor, solving the problem by addition? No. Remember via negativa. They should subtract the blue light coming from their smartphones. Subtract the coffee they are drinking after 12 p.m. and the anxiety-inducing social media addiction. Via negativa helps us simplify the problem in front of us through reducing complexity. The less complex the problem, the easier it is to identify the first principles. Throughout our lives, we have been taught that addition is the key, but for many situations, subtraction is more effective. In this video, you have seen how both Elon Musk and Mr. Beast have leveraged the power of first principles thinking to accumulate ridiculous amounts of success. You have learned to not rely on conventional reasoning by analogy, by daring to question what is possible. Two effective ways of doing this are the 5 whys and via negativa. Do this, and I promise you'll be one step closer to living and dying well. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell notifications so we can see more of each other. Until next time.